I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
Welcome to your Mining Disrupt News Surge for Monday, May 27th, 2024. Today, we've got a bit to cover, and this is some bullish news. I'm going to share a tweet towards the end of this that has one of the most bullish price predictions I've ever seen, and this is from somebody inside the system, the governmental system. He has the ear of people that know what's going on, and he is about as embedded as somebody could be in this space. Before we get to all that, I have to remind you that I am no financial guru. I'm not a guru of any kind. So please do your own due diligence when it comes to any sort of investment. This is for entertainment and education purposes only. Also, be sure, time is running out for you to get your tickets right down here, scan that QR code, to the Mining Disrupt Expo happening in Miami, Florida, June 24th through the 26th. You can learn all about mining down there. Let's check out the numbers, and then we can get into the news stories. We're looking at a price of $68,783 per Bitcoin, which means for $1, you'll get yourself 1,454 sats. There's some new stats over here right by my ear, and this one's important. This is an interesting one right here. There are 19,222 reachable nodes. That's an important number. The more nodes, the more decentralized the network is. That's a good number. The fees are really low, so if you want to consolidate some UTXOs, it's still a great time to do that. The reason I started with that Trump clip is because there are so many people interested and somehow invested through time, energy, money in Bitcoin that it is a political force now. Jumping over here to this tweet from @SethHurtling, and he's talking about the Fit 21 bill, and you can see here that the Republicans, 208, voted for it, meaning that this is a good thing. They want some regulation. They want some clarity in this space. And then 71 Democrats jumped over to vote for this thing here. Right down here in the second paragraph, he gets right to the point. I won't bury the lead. The real story here is that crypto is now, for the first time, an electoral force in American politics. And then right down here in the third paragraph, he kind of hits the whole point on the head. This is why it matters. This is why Trump is talking about it. So, how many of these crypto voters are there? Recent Morning Consult data suggests 17% of the U.S. population, or around 57 million Americans, own crypto today. If half of crypto owners cast their votes based on the candidate's position on crypto, as the DCG/Harris poll suggests they might, that is more than enough to swing Senate or presidential races in close states. As much money matters in politics, and I'll get to that next, votes are still the dominant currency in Washington. And then he talks about the age of who voted for, and the average age of the people that voted for this bill was 51, and the average age that voted against it was 61. The oldies don't understand, don't like it, but the younger generation does like it, does understand it. This will only continue to be the case. Now, something to keep in mind here is timescales. The money is coming. Don't even think that it's not. It is absolutely coming, but you have to understand the timescales that people are working at. I'm going to jump over to this clip from Natalie Burnell where she was talking to Hunter Horsley.
What's your take on why we haven't hit, say, six figures yet?
This new constituent set, the traditional investment professional, just does not operate on the same time frame. So I'll give you an example. When we launched the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF, there's a firm that was incredibly excited about it, highly anticipated it. We sent them a note. We said the product is live. The ticker's BITB. They said, this is incredible. We can finally put this in client portfolios. We're going to jump on this ASAP. Let's set up a call next month. So I say that to give an illustration of ASAP means next month, not later today or next week. But that's what moving fast looks like for these firms.
Michael Saylor has talked about this a lot with people asking him, why haven't more people done the MicroStrategy thing? How come other people haven't adopted this whole Bitcoin approach? And he says, it takes time. We were in a unique position in that we could do that. We had a nimble team, and he, I think, having a lot of say, were able to make that decision. Whereas a company like Apple or Microsoft or Meta or Facebook, they've got shareholders and stakeholders. It's a big mess to try and work through to make a simple decision. With that said, here's an article from Zero Hedge. 52% of top U.S. hedge funds own Bitcoin ETFs. 534 institutions with over $1 billion in assets now hold Bitcoin ETFs. The diverse group of owners includes hedge funds, pension funds, and insurance companies, underscoring the wide-ranging acceptance of Bitcoin, the blog wrote, adding that notably, more than half of the top 25 hedge funds in the United States are now exposed to Bitcoin. A little bit more news on the bullish side of things before I get to that tweet that I talked about right at the outset. Spot Bitcoin ETFs see record inflows for 9 consecutive days. This is via Bitcoin News.com. Since the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, in January, these investment products have seen a total net inflows of over $13.43 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, the engines are not even really started yet. There's gas being poured in, and the driver is in the seat, but this bull market is so primed for an astronomical rocket ship upwards that I don't think many of us are ready for what it'll mean when your stack doubles in value, triples in value potentially. I've seen people talking about $250,000 Bitcoin this cycle, 500,000 Bitcoin this cycle. Here is that tweet I was talking about. Jason Lowry. He is in the ear of senators, congressmen, politicians. He is there. He works for the Space Force. He's a graduate of MIT. He's written an entire massive thesis on why Bitcoin is so important. You don't do that if you aren't deeply interested in this thing and have some very firm convictions. He says, once we move past the fear of government banning you-know-what and are comfortable calling it a weapon/defense system, the Second Amendment will come into play. But the real excitement begins when everyone simultaneously realizes its importance for national security. Think $100 million per coin. And then right down here, Smilin' Jim says, time frame? And here's the kicker. Jason Lowry says, most of us will live to see it. Most of us will live to see it. Is that 10 years? 25? I don't know. And I don't know if this is accurate. But what I do know is, if it's even 100th accurate, that's $1 million per Bitcoin. This is why I say study Bitcoin. I never tell people to buy Bitcoin. I say study it. You'll draw your own conclusions. Until next week.